Welcome back to Exhibit Printing Studio. Today we're going to be talking about garment printing, such as the t-shirt I'm wearing. We're going to be looking at two different approaches, both a laser printed transfer film and a more traditional cut vinyl heat press approach. So, as the heat press warms up, we'll go to the computer and we'll look at artwork preparation. So here we are at the computer. I've opened up Illustrator and I have a graphic which I'm prepping to cut. It's important with vinyl cutting that you have a vector image. The best way to describe a vector image is that it's a series of lines. If I was to zoom in, as I'll demonstrate in a minute, on just a JPEG or a bitmap image, all I'd have is pixels. There's no information there for a computerized cutter to follow. However, this image has been prepared by the graphic designer as a vector, which gives me the option to cut it on the vinyl cutter. So I'm going to take this file and I'm going to open up my cutting software. I need to do two things here. I need to make sure that the scale is correct, and I want the width to be about 18 centimeters wide to fit on the t-shirt, and it's already been prepared at that width, which is great. And the other thing is the entire design needs to be in reverse. That's because the adhesive side is the opposite of the side that you would imagine. So if you don't reverse the artwork when you send it to cut or when you send it to print, you're going to end up with a final product which is back to front. So I'm about to send this graphic to cut. It's quite a detailed design, and during this process I'll be able to demonstrate one of the weaknesses of a cut vinyl approach when it comes to efficiency in production. As you can see, the vinyl cutter works by moving back and forth while feeding the media from front to back. You're able to adjust the pressure for different materials, and the speed it can work at is quite impressive. So we moved over to a different workstation now, and I've opened up the same artwork but as a bitmap, so as an image in Photoshop. So I'm going to zoom in to demonstrate the difference here. Rather than it being line work, it's just made up of pixels. There's no information here for something like a vinyl cutter or a laser cutter to follow. However, there's another process, a transfer film that we print on the laser printer that doesn't need to be cut. It just needs to be printed. So that's the option that we're going to choose here, and then we'll be able to compare the two once it's printed. The transfer film is just coming out of our Oki 5-colour machine. The fifth colour is white, which we've chosen to use for this project. So this is the point at which we can demonstrate a major difference between a laser transfer film and a vinyl cut film. Laser transfer film is basically done. It's good to press onto a garment and the project's complete. The cut vinyl approach is just cut. It still requires us to do what's called weeding, which is removing all the negative to leave us with just the graphic we desire. For this reason, a transfer film is far quicker, especially when doing areas which are highly detailed, whereas a cut vinyl approach might be more appropriate for, say, the text on the back of a football shirt or a simple company logo. I'll get back to you once I've weeded this. So the hard work with the weeding is now done, and the cut vinyl is ready to press. So I have a long sleeve cotton white tee here. The first step is going to be to press it for about 15 seconds just to remove any moisture. So the t-shirt is now ready for the vinyl. Just going to place it on, position it where I want, make sure it's straight. Lower down the press. It is a hot peel, which means I need to peel the release liner away as soon as possible. And there we have it. Transfer onto t-shirt. Although the transfer film was quicker to print and the cut vinyl took longer to weed, this one isn't quite ready to be pressed on the garment yet. We've printed onto what's called the A sheet, but the adhesive, which is going to finally bond it to the garment, is actually carried on the B sheet. When we press them together, the clever part is that the adhesive will only transfer over to any area where there's toner, which means that you don't get a square edge around your graphic like you do with a cheap DIY kit, but also no effort was put into the weeding process, that manual effort that goes into the cut vinyl. Okay, I've just heated up the bottom palette. I'm going to place my A-side print. The B-side cut slightly smaller to fit on top of it. And I'm just going to cover it with some greaseproof paper. And press for 90 seconds. So the next stage of this process requires me to remove the B sheet whilst it's still hot in order to let it bond as well as possible to the A sheet. There's a bit of art to it and it's quite easy to get yourself burned. Okay, that's gone quite well. So you should be able to see on the B sheet, any area where there was toner, the adhesive's been lifted. This is just thrown in the trash. And although it's difficult to see, the back of the printed area now has an adhesive layer which is ready to be pressed directly onto a garment. This vinyl also takes 20 seconds to press. Unlike the cut vinyl, this particular product is a cold peel, so we don't get to do the grand reveal until it's had a chance to fully cool. So, the graphic's fully cooled now. You can peel away the release liner. Very satisfying. This product has a glossy appearance. You can just leave it like this, but what most people do is throw it back in the press with this special greaseproof paper over the top, and that will flatten it out, and the finish will be much like the cut vinyl. So here we have two different garments, both similar graphics printed in two completely different ways. In this example, we've used a single colour for both of these designs. However, it's worth noting with cut vinyl, you can have metallic finishes, anything through to garish glitter finishes. Whereas with the digitally printed version, it doesn't need to be white, it doesn't need to be black. This can be full colour, this can be an image, it could be a photo. There's no real constraints as to your creativity if you choose the correct process when it comes to printing garments. I hope this information has been useful to you. If you have any questions, please contact us at Exhibit Printing.